Okay, hi everyone. Teresa Lisum here, coming to you with my guest co-host, Adele Bernard, and we're evolving women. I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving. So let's help each other to evolve. Our intention here is to fill the world with uplifting messages, plant some new perspectives, share some tools and some resources, maybe some wellness ideas, maybe some mindset shifts. But we're here to give you permission to be your best self and live your best life. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. And welcome, Adele. We're glad you're here.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
So thank you again for being here, Adele. So appreciate you. The world is changing. Are you keeping up with it? That's going to be our topic of conversation today. And we're going to see where it goes. So what's your thoughts on this changing world, Adele?
Well, not to go too deep too fast, but I'm going to.
Why not?
We've never been here before. As human beings, we've never been here before. And so as it's changing very fast around us, I ask all of us to have grace with ourselves. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be right. It just needs to be and to evolve as it needs to.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there, if you're okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but to be, I mean, I've heard that a lot lately, just to be. We're so used to do, move, go here, take action. Can you share your thoughts on how to just be?
Well, being is what we're here to, is the doing. So it's being in the present moment at all times. When you think about being in the presence of your body, the presence of your heart, the past is done. The future hasn't happened. So we're supposed to be. This is where every life happens. This is where the joy is. This is where the light is to move forward.
So
because when we're in the past, we get stuck in the anxiety of it. When we're in the future, we're in the worry. It's like, well, that's not the way to live either.
Yeah, the past is past, but we tend to bring it forward with us, don't we? But it sounds like being, we're human beings. I've heard that before as well.
Yeah.
Being in the present moment. This is where everything happens. This is where our decision making is. This is where our power lies. So, and correct me if I'm wrong or give me your opinion. The past is past. We really can't do anything about it. And the future, why worry about it? Because it's not here yet. But being in in the presence is where it's at.
And there's some thoughts that when you're not in your presence, in your heart centeredness, and you're trying to figure out the future, you're putting you're putting prayers of worry.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you think about putting a prayer out or an intention out, why do you want to attach worry to that? Right? And you also, when you're not in the presence, you're not in discernment. So you have a decision of A, B, or C. If you're worried about in the future, you can't get discernment. If you're worried about the past, you can't have discernment. It's only in the beingness that the discernment, that the courage to make that decision can happen.
Ooh, that is deep.
Well, and then you think like, young kids on the playground. They're in the moment. They're playing hard. They're everything, right? If there is a kerfuffle, they figure it out right then and there. They don't hang on to it for months on end and then go, well, Johnny was mean to me. Well, Johnny was mean to you. Duke it out. Let's go, right? And then they're best friends within 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Johnny was mean, right?
That
apologies to anyone named Johnny. But I'm just, right? And so as adults, we get caught up in the we have to do it right. It has to be this. It's like,
Yes.
no, let it flow, let it be, because in the presence is divine.
Hmm. It's seems to me it's easier said than done because,
Absolutely.
we just, like I said, we bring all this baggage along with us and it's burdening us and holding us down and keeping us from being in the moment. And then we're so busy spending our moment in time, like I said, worrying about the future. So we're in either end, but we're not right here
And so we started this
enough.
we started this conversation. The world's changing, right? And so my thing in it's changed. It's not changing, it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we are all asked to step up into our own truth, into our own light, and let go of the baggage of the conditioning, the beliefs, the untruths that we've been told.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are all here for a reason.
I totally believe that.
And the reason is to shine our light in our truth.
Okay.
And my truth might not be your truth, and vice versa. And
Mm-hmm.
anyone listening to us, is what is your truth in your moment of discernment?
Okay, lots right in that one statement. First of all, discernment. I'd love for you to explain what discernment is to you and my truth. It seems like as adults, we're always trying to figure out our authentic self, our truth. It's taking me decades to come to some clarity on that. So first, let's start with discernment. Share with me your thoughts around what that is,
Well,
please. Explain to our listeners.
like for me, discernment was a new word um a while back, and I was like, what's that word? That's an
Mm-hmm.
interesting word.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taking a situation of, okay, let's say someone's looking for a job. There's two jobs in front of them. Both could work. It's taking the discernment to go through with a fine tooth comb and say, okay, job A, it's good, the pay's good, the commute's good. But my feeling and my gut saying maybe not the right mix. Then B's a good job. I know some of the people already, the commute's better. That feeling, I get that joy in my gut. That's the discernment.
Mm. I'm
What are
gonna.
you really paying attention to? What your heart's saying is the next best step in this thing.
Mm, love that.
And I'm not saying in 5 moments it might change. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying in this specific moment, my discernment is job B.
Mm,
Can I leave job A as a backup? Sure.
mm. I
Right?
love that.
Yeah, you might go to job B and say, I think, I'm ready to talk, I'm ready to say, and then it's like, nope, it's not right. But you're always using your discernment, your gut feeling to align to the highest and best for all concerned. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just for you, it's all concerned.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. That was a great explanation. Just the paying attention
Mm-hmm.
in our fast-paced world, we don't feel we have time to really pay attention to our gut feeling and what might bring us joy because we're worried about the the money or whatever or what's going to work right in this area. But even though there's so many factors involved there, but do
But
we
I would
really take
challenge
the
that.
time?
I would challenge that.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
I
challenge
agree.
I would challenge it for the point of one, there's no time. Time is an illusion. It is, right?
No, I know that's a
We all have, I know,
whole nother
we all
path
have
to
the
go
same
down.
24 hours. So either you take the 30 seconds, 2 minutes now to get
Mm,
into connection, find the discernment now, or you busily just grab something and you pay for it,
yeah, yeah,
right? So 2 minutes now could be 5 years later.
yeah. I love that. Not taking that couple of minutes
Hmm.
could translate into something really huge later on that you didn't anticipate and you're not liking. Yeah, so I love that. So even though we think we don't have the time, would you rather put in that couple minutes now or suffer the consequences down the road? Or it's going to take a lot longer than a couple minutes to
Well,
sort it out.
and here's another prime example. Like you're in a rush, you're rushing with the kids. You take like
Mm-hmm.
this happens with moms all the time.
Yep.
And I'm like, where are you rushing to? Like I get in, I'm like, do you realize in that state, in that vibration, you're waiting for an accident to happen
Mm-hmm.
before you put the car into drive? Stop, take a few minutes, take some breaths. You know what? Your kids are going to take some breaths with you. They're going
Yeah.
to show up at soccer better. They're going to show up at dance better. They're going to show, because you're all going to show up better. Because you're going to take that 2 minutes to make those breaths, to be present within the body so you can have discernment to go forward.
Yeah. And I appreciate you bringing up the taking the time to take some breaths.
Yeah.
That's such a simple tool we have with us all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I personally forget to do it in the
Yeah.
course of my day. I mean, there's certain points where I intentionally do it, but just in the course of the day, like, okay, just stop and take some deep breaths. And you're right, it kind of brings us all back into center, resets us, gets us ready for that next step. So
Well,
something
and
as easy as that.
even this morning, like I fell into the rabbit hole and I was like, what is going on? I don't have time for this today. And it's just like breathe. And it's amazing how fast you can come out of
Mm-hmm.
that situation
Yep.
when you're more present within yourself and the rabbit hole goes away and you go, what rabbit hole? Oh, it doesn't matter. That's in the past.
Right,
Carry
right.
on.
But how many, I know I have a family member who is, that's what I hear her constantly say. She doesn't have the time. She doesn't have the time. She doesn't. And so she doesn't because she's repeating that again and again and again. So
But
it's
that
almost
doesn't mean
like,
you need to listen to it.
well, I know, but for herself, and I've heard this happen and play out for other people. They keep expressing they don't have the time. So, of course, that plays out in their experience.
Yeah. But like I said, we all have the same 24 hours,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? It's
Yes,
what
we
we
do.
do with the illusion of that time
Mm-hmm.
that gets us where we need to go.
Yep. Um,
And like the people who constantly go, well, I don't have time, I don't have this. It's like, thanks for sharing. I choose to be not in that situation.
mm,
And it's amazing how many people you just kind of start pulling away from. If
yeah.
you want to stay in that stress of no time, no, whatever,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's your prerogative.
Yep.
That's not where I live. I live in a different vibration. And we
Mm-hmm.
need to be very cognizant of what vibrations we're letting into our space.
Oh, yeah. And there's that discernment comes in right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's funny, I used to be part of a group that would say, um, you can say it twice to a maximum of 3 minutes each time. After that, don't bring it to the group. I'm
Mm.
like, at first I was like, what's kind of rude? And then I was like, oh, they got something happening here. This is cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's just their space is like either you want to get a solution
Mm-hmm.
or it's a quick vent, it's out, it's gone, let's go. So, okay, if you're in the rabbit hole, say, I'm in the rabbit hole, I just got to vent it out, done.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to go
Yeah.
because
Instead of
that's the illusion.
wallowing. Yeah.
So, that person you're talking about, bless her heart, she doesn't have time. Well, that's great. You have all the time in the world. So, you're just going to
Mm-hmm.
use your time, right?
Yeah. I love that. I have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And you were
Because
talking.
that's the biggest thing of the change. Sorry. That's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing of the change.
Yeah. No, I
Time
love
is an
that.
illusion.
But it seems so hard for us to grasp that
I'm not
concept.
saying we're through this shifting and understanding everything yesterday. Like,
No, I understand that, but just telling people that time is an illusion, we're so compelled
programmed.
to, be pulled into time. That's how our society runs. So if somebody's just hearing that for the first time, that could be like really shocking and hard to understand.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
I
you don't
think here's the
understand things,
yeah.
people that are listening, just take a couple breaths, take what you can, and let go of the rest. Go ahead.
So
I'm sorry, Adele.
here's a good example of, you have young kids, right? They go to
Mm-hmm.
school, they come home, that like dinner's at 6. But the kids get hangry at 4:45.
Mm-hmm.
But dinner's at 6.
Yep. Yep.
So you're gonna have an hour and 15 minutes to wait for them to go absolutely ballistic,
I
wreck-a-legged
say
at night
with crabby
to have
kids.
dinner at 6?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you feed them at 4:45,
Mm-hmm.
get them settled, get them playing, whatever, and you and your partner have a nice casual
Yeah.
dinner at 6?
Yep. Sounds
Or
like a
do you
good
move the
plan
whole
to me.
family to 4:45?
Mm-hmm. No, it
Choice.
makes sense. It's like we make things hard on ourselves, I
Yeah.
think, without really questioning or analyzing or reassessing
Yeah.
what's happening or what we've put in place already.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to give ourselves permission to to not understand, but to know that there is a shift, there is a change, and it's okay for us to change too. Like you said, if we
Yeah.
have to change the dinner time, change it. Who cares? Who's paying attention?
Well, and
There's no rule.
that's the whole thing about how I've evolved my company was, okay, so people are in transition. We're always in transition.
Yes, we
Something's
are.
always happening. It's finding the clarity in that transition.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to keep working with the hungry kids? Or do you just kind of want to shift the dinner time a little? And sometimes you can't do that because that means someone's always eating alone or whatever, or give them a snack or figure it out for your unique family.
Yes, yes,
But I also know that most kids these days are eating fast food on the way to
yes.
practice.
Oh my gosh, yes. In the car. Yeah, for sure.
That's not good either.
No, it's not.
You
Um,
know?
yeah, things are changing though, and we can decide to change that. We don't have to
Yeah,
wait for somebody else to tell us or to see somebody else do it, or we can give ourselves permission to make those changes, like you said, that are going to work best for us, for our family, for people in our space and our environment.
exactly.
Yeah, why not? Again, who's keeping track and it's just that it seems like humans have been caught in certain ruts, certain beliefs, certain ways of thinking, and it's time to
Well,
change all that, blow them out of the water, come up with something new.
and as much as we have our little nuances in different parts of the world, whatever, ultimately we're all one. We're all unity.
Mhm,
We're all trying to work
mhm.
together,
Yep,
right? Like
yes.
technology has made us more cohesive to work together around the
Mhm,
world, which is
yes.
beautiful.
Mhm,
And maybe some of those little, synchronicities we can bring over into our families or bring over and we say, okay, well, they're using discernment in this way? Or, how can I look at this situation and ask for more clarity? Ask for more guidance, right?
Yep.
Instead of putting those so-called prayers or intentions out with worry. Trust in the moment that everything's happening and working out perfectly for you to your highest and best.
Love that. And that's, I will admit, sometimes that's tricky for me personally too, to trust myself in that moment in time.
Mhm.
And it's a practice. It's not a one and done. It might be, but for me, it would be a practice and a revisiting and a constantly reminding myself. And then it would become an established, way of being. We're back to that way of being. But I guess my point is, as a listener, these are concepts we're throwing out, that don't worry about grasping them all, and don't beat yourself up because you don't trust in the moment, or you can't trust in the moment for whatever reason. Just
Well,
be soft, be graceful, be gentle, be forgiving with yourself.
like if I could get anything over to the listeners of this, what I've learned the most in my life is chaos happens around us, right? The breath brings us within peace. So if things are feeling frazzled inner, just start breathing, get present, get in your heart. Let the frazzle go out. Let the world do what it needs to do. But that doesn't mean we have to do that.
Right. Yes. I
And
love
even as we were starting this conversation, it's just like my mind is flying 100 miles a minute. And I went, whoa, check it at the door. And I took that moment.
She
I
did.
told you I took that moment.
Yes.
Somebody's
Yep.
got to get present here before we do this.
Yes. I can vouch for that.
Right. And so I'm not preaching. I'm leading.
And
I do it first.
yeah. Yeah. And I like
Right.
to think myself and any of my guest co-hosts, we are doing this on our own. This is a practice, or these
Yeah.
are practices. We're not like better and above, and we know so much more than everybody else. We're in the midst of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
But
all
we also can recognize, oh, you're in the group. Do you want some help?
well, yeah, we maybe have a bigger sense of awareness,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make it magically easier for us necessarily.
Well, and that's the funny thing about how I use the lighthouse as my backdrop, or whatever you want, the symbol of my company. Was I kept on saying, okay, like when I was looking through what is the meaning of finding transition? What is the clarity? And it's like the lighthouse doesn't care.
That's
It is
good.
within itself a unit all on its own, shining its light, right? So you can either be calm or you can be like the rough seas behind. Either way, there's rocks. We're telling you don't hit the rocks. We're stationary. We're not moving. Or you can hit the rocks and suffer the consequences, or you can use the guidance with the light and move around the rocks. It's choice.
Yeah, it is a choice. And I
Right?
think sometimes we forget we do have choices. Yeah, remembering that we do have choices in every moment of time, in our present
Yeah.
moment, is a
Yeah.
huge awareness in and of itself. If we could just
Yeah.
hold on to that, we would really, move ourselves ahead a lot and be more at peace and more relaxed. So lots of good, juicy gems here. So I
Well,
want,
and it doesn't mean that we won't have those moments of like throwing in the towel or
yeah,
I can't
exactly.
do this
That
or
is true.
but that's where our community comes in and we say, I just can't be in my lighthouse today. Can someone help me with my lighthouse today?
Mm-hmm.
And so someone will come in and like say, I'm just seeing on your wall, like you have the sun, right? And it's like my lighthouse isn't on. And you're like, that's okay. Here's some sun. Pour some sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And you can flip the switch and you're like, oh, thank you.
Yep. So be discerning as to who you surround yourselves with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want good, positive, supportive people that can help you reignite your light and pick you back up and help you move forward. Yeah. Ooh, I love that. We've hit a lot on this journey in our conversation today.
We're getting clarity.
But I love the lighthouse. I love everything we talked about. I am going to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being with us today. Thank you so much, Adele.
It was a pleasure.
If you want to connect with Adele, we'll drop that information in the description with this video. I want to invite our viewers to think about that image of a lighthouse and how you can be a lighthouse for others, possibly. Be that centered, stable beam of light that other people can follow. And I'm going to invite you to do some breathing today. Use your breath as a tool to help you in any particular moment. So I want to thank you again, Adele, and thank you to our viewers and our listeners. We so appreciate you. We look forward to you on the next episode. Bye-bye.